segueing from the last question we just talked about, diversity is a key element for boards these days, obviously. And what I want to ask you is, kind of like comparing to my sports analogies again, how does a board create a winning culture where you got to balance diversity, both of backgrounds and skill sets, but yet still contribute effectively without taking over the company, still contribute effectively to management of the company? How do you create a winning culture? Exactly.
I wish I had all the answers to that, because if I did, I wouldn't be employed and I'd be out.
That's exactly it. It's basically, I compare a lot of things to sports teams, and as you had said in some previous comments about, you need diversity, you need people from outside the industry. It used to be boards where everybody from the same industry, everybody you felt comfortable with and whatnot. And diversity has become a big element, but it's more than just diversity of man, women, black, white, or whatnot. It's diversity of skill sets. But you still have to be able to work together and complement each other. And when you got executives, generally high talented people on boards who you deal with all the time, some have more ego, some have not. How would you go in and coach someone in that respect of being able to make it a winning culture?
Well, I think looking specifically at the attitude of this is how we do it here, that, going native attitude, I go back to the Tara Brach analogy of the golfing with monkeys. It's, whether it's an individual, and I hate to use this term, but a narcissistic, individual where it's their idea and their idea is the best idea and everybody else's idea gets just lambasted, because there are scenarios, those scenarios are real. And then individuals on the board who are quite talented are not going to be heard, and so working with that individual in increasing their awareness and letting them see how you can't build a wall, you can't feed the monkey bananas, and you can't put them in a box. So let's create some flexibility here and openness to the other ideas and suggestions, and knowing that all roads lead to Rome. So let's get there. Let's keep the focus the same.
It's an interesting leadership quandary, I find, because generally people on boards are smart people. They've been leaders already, and they are leaders, and yet they have to be able to work with like an all-star team, other all-stars. They have to contribute and provide vision and everything else to executive and management, and yet they can't run the company like they're used to. So it makes for a very interesting team effort, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Well, because also a lot of leaders that are on boards are not used to experiencing pushback and resistance, because they haven't experienced that in years in the positions that they've held.
Right.
So to be in an environment where you have all of these chiefs and no Indians, it's important to say to the chiefs, okay, look, that's great that you're bringing that and this. So it's kind of, look at it, this is how you can look at it. Look at it as improv. I always do this with clients. Like, it's seen in suggestions, and instead of shutting it down saying, no, that totally, is awful, or, but, you really need this. In improv, if you shut down a scene in improv, if you say no to something that somebody's bringing on stage, it folds. That's it, right? So instead of saying no, say yes, and yes, that's a very good point, and then bring in your suggestion. Don't but, because everybody just holds on that word but, because that's all they care about. Oh, I've been,
It's a brilliant point, because if you do that, it might still not be the exact way to go, but the conversation's going to come around that, and all creativity starts, and who knows?
Yes. Right. So yes, and.
Got it. Yes, and. And yes, and that's the way we'll conclude. And that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.